Hi everyone, Gil Freed, the crowd management doctor. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. These are the February and March 2025 news stories. Hopefully, you'll be able to learn some important ideas and concepts through these. The first story: Alabama Athletic Director Byrne cure for court storming is forfeit the game, and Vanderbilt has racked up nearly about $1 million in Southeastern Conference fines for rushing both football fields and basketball courts this academic year, despite trying to curtail the temptation. But Alabama's athletic director, Greg Byrne, said a steeper penalty could be imposed against schools to end rushing the field of play once and for all. He stated, "I truly believe it. If we said that the home team, if they storm the field or the court, they're going to lose the game right then and there, that will stop it." And that's what Burns said, as reported by Athlon Sports. I don't think from a financial penalty standpoint, you can really put anything into place that would curtail it. I think it has to be other steps, other actions, he said. The SEC has levied a combined $2.6 million in fines because of fans storming the court and field this year alone, according to Athlon Sports, citing a report in ESPN. A lot of people want to make their TikTok videos in the moment. Somebody had said to ESPN when they were reporting on it, we've had visiting players approach and insulted pretty aggressively. So somebody can make a video recording those aren't healthy realities, is what this person said. And that is true. And we've had incidences where people have been injured by different activities, such as people rushing a basketball court and hitting Caitlin Clark and Zach Edey, and there have been other instances similar to that in the past. So we just have to be cautious about it. What do? You plan. What are we going to do if there is going to be a rush onto the field or onto the court? We prepare. We've got to make sure we have all the people in the right position and know how to execute the plan. Next story: police identify coach players who threw object at referee following a high school basketball game. Police have identified players and a coach from Benton Harbor, Michigan High School who threw objects that hit a referee after a boys basketball playoff game in Dowagach. I'm probably destroying that, in February. According to WNDU, the incident happened immediately after Benton Harbor lost to Buchanan in the district semifinals by a final score of, believe it or not, 39-36. Benton Harbor, who reportedly called for 22 fouls in the game, while Buchanan was only called for 8. Bias officiating? Who knows? Video of the incident that was posted online showed the game ending and the referee walking across the court to the scorer's table. The referee is then hit in the head by multiple thrown objects, including a basketball and a water bottle. Police then escorted the referee out of the gymnasium. The Dowagach police say charges are being sought and they are still attempting to identify other individuals that engaged in the assault on the referee. Police said more than 3 people, including Benton Harbor student athletes, staff, and parents, were involved. And they need to protect everyone regardless of any perceived issue, is what the police indicated. And that is true. You have to protect everyone. Doesn't matter what they did, who they are. Your responsibility as a patron leader is to make sure that everyone is safe. And there's been an uptick in violence against both players and referees. And we have to keep that in mind when we're out there trying to protect people. Sometimes we're protecting them from themselves from doing stupid things. That might be why you have to come forward and tell people in your section, guys, I'm expecting good behavior. I'm monitoring what's going on here, and this is what I want to say. I want you to follow the rules, follow the fan code of conduct. Student section allegedly taunted Latino student with chants of "call ICE" at a high school basketball game. High school student athletes with Latino-sounding last names were reportedly the target of racist taunts by the Joplin High School student section during a recent basketball game. Parkview parents sent an email to Joplin officials saying that they heard the taunts and they heard it from the Joplin student section, including a chant that they would call ice on them at the end of the game. During the game, our administrators worked with the on-site Parkview administrative staff to take immediate action in addressing exchanges between students from both schools. A quote was made by the school. When reports of inappropriate conduct surfaced, our administrative team responded immediately to investigate and address them. That's appropriate. That's what they did. But what did they do? The school ended up responding. They didn't stop the game. Maybe they should have awarded the opposing team 6 points or some penalty that has some teeth and will actually work. That goes back to our previous story about maybe a fine or forfeiting a game might be a way to prevent court storming. Maybe we want to follow the same kind of concept when it comes to inappropriate behavior by fans. And this goes on all over the world with soccer fans in parts of the world throwing bananas onto the soccer pitch when there's an African American player or a black player if it's not in America. And so these are stupid things that you can monitor your section and warn people that you're looking out for these kind of inappropriate behaviors. And so I encourage you, be assertive, be aggressive, not just be passive in your role. You can make a difference. All right, here's another story. A review: the Ohio State police officer were justified in using pepper spray during a post-game melee. All right, the Ohio State University police have determined an officer's use of pepper spray during a brawl between players following last November's football game against rival Michigan. I'm an Ohio State fan, so I'm a little bit biased there. They said it was justified. The officer's chain of command, including Chief Dennis Jeffrey, found the officer's use of pepper spray was objectively reasonable considering the circumstances. Following their upset victory at Ohio Stadium, Michigan players attempted to plant a flag near the middle of the field. It's just one of these things. You take the flag, you run out there, and you want to plant it over there. A brawl ensued, though, resulting in at least one police officer suffering injuries and several officers from several police agencies deploying pepper spray. They were there to try to protect people. The Ohio State officer who used pepper spray documented his use of force, stating that he saw, quote unquote, several people on the ground being stepped on, police officers being violently pushed around by various members of the football team who were wearing football protective gear, including helmets. All right, so they felt justified in it, and that is their perspective. And when you're coming against people that are big and wearing protective gear and helmets where they might feel emboldened, you have to do something to try to protect yourself and others. And it went on to say, it was clear that police officers, security, and stadium security presence with verbal commands for everyone to step back and leave the area was not working. That's what the officer wrote. He continued, several people were on the ground. Police officers were being pushed and shoved by large, highly trained and skilled Division I football athletes in football game attire. The players had the advantage in both size, strength, conditioning, protective gear, and they outnumbered the officers' presence trying to suppress the growing threat. A review from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office that cleared any of the wrongdoing by the officers and said that the use of pepper spray was justified and that the officer actually had threatened to use a taser but did not. The Big Ten Conference fined each school $100,000. In addition, a 45-year-old Florida man is facing fourth-degree misdemeanor charges for criminal trespass after running past security and onto the field during the November 30th brawl. The man was arrested while officers from several agencies, including OSU Police, Ohio State University Police, were attempting to break up the melee. The man told the officers who arrested him he had entered the field to prevent Michigan from planting their flag. Let the officers do their job, but that's one of the responsibilities. If you're a patron leader, you got to think about this. That man now faces a maximum penalty of 30 days in jails and a $250 fine. I think the penalties should be more. I'm on the record for that. Stiff penalties might dissuade people from engaging in inappropriate conduct. So just something that we're thinking about. Ole Miss officials plead with fans to stop storming court after a $500,000 fine. Here we go again. This is the end of football season, start of basketball season in February and March, and we have all these court stormings. Officials at the University of Mississippi are urging fans to stop storming the court after Ole Miss was slapped with a $500,000 fine following the Rebels' 78-76 victory over Tennessee. The administration released the following statement to fans. So this is the university. Wednesday was a momentous night for the Ole Miss men's basketball team. Our program has experienced record attendance growth this season, and that is due to the love and support of Rebel Nation. Unfortunately, Wednesday's special moment was barred by the unacceptable behavior of a select few in our fan base that chose, we'll have to cut that out and put that back in, that chose to impatiently rush the court before the Tennessee team and game officials had exited and before the crowd was welcome to come down. These selfish actions have consequences, as they will cost our coaches and student athletes valuable resources. We are being levied a $500,000 fine to bring our department's total to $850,000 for the season. Additional SEC regulations dictate that this money be distributed to the opposing institution, with potential future fines continuing at a similar level. It is imperative that we take immediate action to end this behavior. And so this is a statement from the school. They were sugarcoating it at the start, but they're trying to change behavior. Will it have an impact? I don't know. The statement went on to say, our staff is currently reviewing post-game footage from Wednesday, and any individuals who are identified will face the potential loss of game privileges. Entering the playing surface without permission is strictly prohibited and will not be tolerated. Penalties will be increased moving forward, including holding perpetrators on the court or field and revoking their game privileges on site. We are also exploring other avenues to hold those that break the rules accountable. Simply put, this must stop. It went on to say, we appreciate the passionate support of the Ole Miss family and thank those who acted appropriately Wednesday night. It's exciting to see our team celebrate with our fans, and as administration we encourage it. However, it should only occur when explicitly permitted. We ask that our fans help us avoid future fines by adhering to rules and policing each other. We remain focused on creating a bucket list game day experience, but losing resources as a result of fines can no longer be part of that. And so that was the statement they came out with. The news came out after Vanderbilt was fined a total of $750,000 for court storming following wins over Kentucky and Tennessee. So this is a trend that we see. SEC are only some of the schools. We see it at other schools as well. To mitigate the potential for such damage, Vanderbilt has come up with a seemingly unique idea. On Friday, the school issued a new court storming policy that involves a 1-minute countdown clock that will start once the game clock has expired. The idea is to allow sufficient time for opposing team and officials to exit the court. Once the clock hits zeros, everyone can then storm the court. Let's see if that will work. Will people have the patience to wait? I understand what the policy is for having that countdown clock. You want to make sure that players and officials are not harmed during court storming. I get it. But why not just say, look, it's not allowed? I know there's enthusiasm, but look at what happens at the professional rank. We don't see the same kind of action in professional games because everyone knows this is the policy. And I think part of that's going to be, hey, maybe it's a little bit more than revoking game day privilege. Maybe you could be expelled from school. Maybe that will change people's behavior. Who knows? Most UCLA students in line denied entry to women's basketball game against rival USC. The UCLA athletic department is facing the fallout after hundreds, if not thousands, of students who had waited in line for hours to attend a women's basketball game against their rival USC were denied entry. The utter mismanagement by UCLA athletics on Saturday night quickly sabotaged what could have been an unforgettable celebration and embodiment of Bruin pride in the last regular season game of the year against their fiercest rival, said Ira Guerrera of the Daily Bruin. Students were told to line up outside Pauley Pavilion starting at 2 p.m. to collect wristbands for the 6 p.m. tip-off. A chaotic scramble unfolded where students were given conflicting instructions. Lines shifted unpredictably. Those who had patiently waited, some even formed a pre-line at 1:30 p.m., were left in the dust by a wave of last-minute stragglers. Despite an alleged 500 promised wristbands, only around 100 students actually got into Pauley Pavilion. If you give people the opportunity to come to a game and then you yank it from them or don't manage the process well, that's very problematic. Tracy Pearson of 247 Sports reported apparently only a small number of students, with one source on hand estimating 100 to 150 students, were permitted access to the student section of Pauley Pavilion, with UCLA turning away the majority of those who lined up for hours. Just imagine if you waited for hours, you'd be upset too. Well, that is one of the things as a patron leader, is that you have to manage a crowd outside as well as inside the facility, and part of that is communicating with people, and you have to have a consistent message from the very beginning and follow that message unless it's an urgent message, urgent change. The number 2 ranked UCLA and number 4 ranked USC were to play for the Big Ten championship, and the game was reportedly sold out weeks in advance. However, there are usually a few sections reserved for students on a first-come, first-served basis. That's already a warning sign right there. Students were told to start lining up outside Pauley Pavilion at 2 p.m. to receive wristbands that would provide free admittance for the 6 p.m. tip-off. The line was approximately a mile long. Just imagine that. UCLA Athletics released a statement in which it sounds like it is claiming 500 students received wristbands. Let's see if that holds up, because I think there should be an investigation. According to the university, all UCLA women's basketball regular season ticket games are free for all UCLA students pending availability, and admission is not guaranteed. Student section capacity is determined using attendance data throughout the season. Therefore, 500 wristbands were set aside for UCLA students. Communication about wristband distribution was sent to students earlier in the week. In that communication, they were told specific things. They were told that the line would start at 2 p.m. Wristbands would be distributed at that time until they were ran out at 2:45. Well, obviously the distribution did not go as planned. This tells us when you have a plan, make sure you stick with a plan that has been vetted and that you've looked at all the different contingencies. There never should be a mile-long line to get into a game like this when there are only 500 tickets. Maybe the first 500 people that are there are told, look, here you go, here's your wristband, give it out immediately at that point, and then be done with it and say, look, there's no more room. There are solutions. You just have to be creative, and you have to make sure you follow a solution so people can, in fact, execute what they want to do, which is go to a game and not wait in a mile-long line and then not get into the game. The WTA bans man after Raducanu security incident in Dubai. Emma Raducanu was targeted by a man who exhibited fixation behavior during the WTA's 1000 tournament in Dubai. Tennis officials said Wednesday after the former U.S. Open champion was reduced to tears on court. The 22-year-old Briton was down 2-0 in the first set against Karolina Muchova on Tuesday when she approached the umpire, then briefly took refuge behind the umpire's chair. Muchova went over to see what was wrong before the 2021 New York champion Raducanu reappeared wiping away tears with her towel. The Women's Tennis Association said it would ban the man after what it called the security incident in Dubai. Call it what it is. Don't call it security incident. That's sugarcoating it. You have fans that can be stalkers and can be problematic. We've seen that before where another tennis player was stabbed in the back at a tournament in Germany. So you got to be aware of this. A statement said on Monday, February 17th, Emma Raducanu was approached in a public area by a man who exhibited fixated behavior. This same individual was identified in the first few rows during Emma's match on Tuesday at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championship and subsequently ejected. He will be banned from all WTA events pending a threat assessment. In 2022, a London court issued a 5-year restraining order against a man who stalked the British tennis star, including making several visits to her home. Just imagine that if you're an athlete and you have to deal with someone who has fixated behavior on you. There has been stalking in sports for years. You have to monitor what's going on, and if there is inappropriate behavior in your section, address it. If you're uncomfortable addressing it, contact a supervisor and tell them, look, I'm concerned about what's going on in my section. This is what's going on, and this is the reason why I'm concerned. That way you can hopefully take appropriate action to maybe prevent something like this from occurring. No athlete, no fans want to be involved in an incident such as this where it could escalate and lead to potential harm to other people. The next story, 15 detained after North Macedonia nightclub fire kills 59 people. Police have detained 15 people after fire at a nightclub in North Macedonia killed at least 59 people, the officers have said. The blaze broke out around 2:30 local time, which is 1:30 Greenwich Mean Time, at the Pulse Club in Kochani, where about 500 people had gathered for a concert by DNK, a popular hip-hop duo in the country. Only one member of the band survived and was being treated in a hospital, spokesman for the public prosecutor's office told the BBC NewsHour. In total, 155 were injured at the concert. Interior Minister Pant Taskowski, there's some tough names in this month's news stories. He had said that the detainees will be questioned, adding that there are grounds for suspicion that there is bribery and corruption linked to the fire. The minister said that the venue did not have a legal license to operate. That's a first warning sign right there. If you're asked to work an event, make sure it's a legitimate facility. The venue, in a town of around probably about 100 kilometers east of the capital, Skopje, has been described as an improvised nightclub, having previously been a carpet warehouse. There had been only one efficient exit in the building, as the venue's back door was locked and could not be used. Citing initial reports, Taskovsky said that the fire had been started by sparks from a pyrotechnic device that had lit the ceiling, which was made of highly flammable material. This is similar to what happened at the Station nightclub fire in Rhode Island. Footage shows the band playing on stage when 2 flares went off, after which sparks caught fire on the ceiling before spreading rapidly to the rest of the building. Such a tragedy, and these kind of tragedies can be prevented, and we have to take every step to do that, and that's often management's responsibility to monitor what's going on the stage, pyrotechnics, things like that. Video verified by the BBC shows people trying to extinguish the flames on the ceiling. The footage shows the club was still full, and some people appeared to be watching efforts to put out the fire rather than leaving. Well, if you're at an event, you have a responsibility, if there is a fire, to get everyone out. Not say, oh, can we put the fire out, and then see what happens. Get the people out, and then you're going to save lives. The last story of this 2-month grouping of stories is a new foundation to help with Showstop Authority. And so it goes on. Pink Bows Foundation, created by the Dubisky family, is launched a first of its kind crowd safety training and certification for large-scale event program. The foundation is proud to announce its support by Sir Paul McCartney and Event Safety Alliance globally. The Show Stop procedure, and that's the name of the procedure, training was created by experts in crowd safety and management and aims to facilitate collaboration with the event industry and help prevent event-related fatalities and injuries, such as those that occurred during the Astroworld crowd crush in 2021. All 10 deaths and injuries sustained at the 2021 Astroworld Festival could have been prevented, according to the Houston Police Department investigation. I worked on that case. Unfortunately, it's still going on, so I can't comment on it. But just for, truthfulness, I want to make sure I put that in there. So at a later date, we'll probably go into more detail about it. The Pink Bows Foundation is on a mission to collaborate with the event industry, raise awareness, and create a global standard for crowd safety and management at large-scale events, said Brian Dubisky, as well as Michelle Dubisky. They're the parents of Madison Dubisky and Pink Bows Foundation co-founder. Madison, unfortunately, did not survive the Astroworld tragedy. We have world-renowned crowd safety experts, and we are thankful for the support from Global Alliance, event organizers, families, and the wider community we have received so far. Most importantly, we have the memory of our daughter, Madison, that will continue to motivate our work with the event industry. It's a very worthwhile cause. I hope they're very successful in what they're trying to do. As Sir Paul McCartney said, I'm very happy to support Pink Bows Foundation and the great work they do for crowd safety. Our industry cares deeply about the safety of audiences. It is fantastic that the Pink Bows Foundation is driving safety initiatives that will further enhance crowd safety at events. The aim of a global standard for show-stop procedures is to significantly reduce the risk of preventable death and injury, said Steve Allen, Global Crowd Safety Expert Consultant for Pink Bows Foundation. And so what they're trying to do is find a way to communicate effectively that the show has to stop. Turn on the house lights, stop power to stage, whatever it's going to be. The show stop procedure is a proven and decisive emergency procedure that has been successfully implemented multiple times worldwide. And that's true. They have stopped shows in the past, and they've used that as a chance to reset and get things safe. The show stop procedure rapidly focuses the audience attention to reduce the risk of incident escalation, injury, or worse. And so if the power goes off, the music stops, whatever happens, that's often a sign for people to look around and see what's going on. And then that's when you can go on to emergency speakers and say, look, we need people to do X, Y, or Z. And so that's normally not what a patron leader is going to be involved with, but they should understand the process and the procedure, and that when a show stop occurs, how they have to respond, how they have to help the effort. That's it for the February and March 2025 news story. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope everyone stays safe. Bye, everyone.